As president of the labor union, SPIA, that represents 24,000 white-collar professional workers, people who aren't even Boeing employees have been finding our website and sending me email, and they're outraged at this decision. And they're outraged because it's for defense, American defense, and it's American taxpayer dollars, and it's going to France, essentially. And it's interesting because they express their outrage, and then they tell me, do something about it. What we're doing is we have petitions out because people want to do something to express their feelings, and they want to be able to think that they have a part in this. And everybody can't come to Washington, D.C., but they can write letters to their congressmen, they can write letters to senators, and they can sign petitions. So we've had reams of people, we've got reams of these things of petitions signed, and it's great. The other interesting thing is I've gotten email from people who aren't even, they're naturalized citizens of this country. They're brand new citizens, and they send me email. I've gotten several of those, and they said, why is my brand new government sending my tax dollars to a foreign country to build an aircraft that's such a huge part of our nation's defense? And they don't think it makes sense. So if your grassroots people don't understand this and think it's not a good decision, then higher-ups have got to understand that too. For me, it boils down to common sense. Who should be building the aircraft for our military should be an American company, and should be Boeing. Look at the B-52, that bomber. They built that in the 50s. It's been flying for over 50 years, and a few years ago, they started doing the mid-life upgrade. I mean, that plane's going to fly another 50 years. It's just kind of interesting. We build solid, good airplanes, and we've got the best. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm the president of the Engineers and Technical Workers Union, we have the best workers, and they're dedicated. They believe in the products that they build, and they believe in supporting the military and building the best bombers, fighters, refueling tankers in the world. Our military is, these people serve, and they serve at great risk, they serve at great sacrifice, and we have to give them the best, always. And my brother is in the Army, and I want the best for him. My dad is retired Air Force. I'm an Air Force brat. And a lot of my customers I work with are Air Force, and I want the very, very best for them. And I've always kept that in mind. And all my other, the engineers I work with on various Air Force projects, we've always kept in mind who's flying that aircraft, and we do the best to make sure they're safe, they're secure, and that their mission is accomplished. That's our #1 goal. And we work hours over, what we're supposed to, just to make sure we get that product done right. And that dedication is there. And I just don't see how a foreign country, their workers are going to have that same dedication, because it's not their Air Force. #1 is they've got to write letters to their senators and their representatives, and they've got to express their outrage and ask them to defund the appropriations bill and to really investigate this. Actually, I want them just to write the letters and say, put this product back in the hands of an American company and give it back to Boeing. And I think that public pressure, that would really have an effect, because we've been here on the Hill and we're talking to congressional reps and senators, and we're finding a lot of support here, and they don't understand it either. And I got to tell you, from reading the press release put out by Boeing Government Relations on the factors used to decide this competition, I'm even more convinced that it was the Boeing aircraft that should have won. There's a patriotism issue here, because it's an American plane for our American warfighter. That's #1. And then we actually sincerely believe that we have the better product. I was on another competition where we lost, and when we read here's what happened, we go, okay, we didn't win. And we have to suck it up and move on. In this case, there's nothing to suck up. We won, and we really believe we won, because we had the least cost. Our airplane cost less, and the Air Force increased the cost of our proposal. I've never worked on a proposal where the government has increased the cost that Boeing has submitted. And they said, well, you can't take advantage of the fact that you have experience building these commercial 767s. You can't discount the cost because of your experience, and they raised our cost. The other thing that was really telling for me was there was a computer model that was used to define or decide who wins on fleet effectiveness. And that model was designed and maintained by Northrop Grumman. To me, that's a conflict of interest. And so if I wouldn't allow them to use a Boeing modeling program to do that. That just is so blatant, in my opinion. That is so blatant. And so when I see those kind of things, I think that competition was flawed. And I'm glad the GAO is looking into it, and I think they'll come out with some very interesting facts and data. I think something or somewhere they've received pressure to go with the Airbus airplane, and I'm not sure what that pressure is. And you know, sometimes you just have to blow past the pressure and you have to do the right thing. There's always pressure to not do the absolute best. And there's pressure to go with one person over another. There's pressure to make one decision over another. You can't cave to pressure. You've got to do the right thing. And you've got to consider all the factors, what makes sense, what's in the best interest of our nation's security. And I don't care what the pressure is, you do the right thing.